Some of you may know that my very first job in youth ministry was working on staff at Camp St. Louis up near Bonnyville, Alberta. I worked there from 1997 until 2002 thanks to an invitation I received from Father Roland Bissonnette, who was the camp's founder. Now, Father B was this tall French priest who served in the Diocese of St. Paul for many, many years until his death in 2003. And one of the things that Father B used to talk with the kids at our camp about on a regular basis was heaven. And the fact that heaven is the ultimate goal for all of our lives. And I don't know that we spend enough time thinking about heaven, because I think a lot of us have it in our minds that heaven seems kind of boring.
Heaven has a wide array of fine dining just steps from your room. Have a light bite at the Pope of Sandwich Village.
This is our nature walk, our pedicure hut, our state-of-the-art showroom, tonight featuring Los Lobos.
Heaven is better than you think it is. Heaven is more extraordinary, is more amazing, and is more fulfilling than you think it is. And Father Bissonnette, in saying that this is the end goal of our lives, really kind of summed it up. This is what we're supposed to be aiming for. Those who become saints often have the idea of, if I want to get to heaven, if I want to be in heaven when I die, what do I need to do today to get there? What do I need to do today in order to enter more deeply into a relationship with Christ? What do I need to do today to cooperate more with the grace of God working in my life to become the saint God made me to be? Now, that's a whole other video. But let's just look at the end goal here of heaven. The Bible uses a whole lot of images to try and explain to us what heaven would be like. Life, light, the wine of the kingdom, the Father's house, the heavenly Jerusalem, paradise. If you dive into the book of Revelation, there's this fantastical image of heaven. This is where we get, the choirs singing and that sense of rejoicing. Revelation also has probably my favorite image of what heaven must be like. That's the wedding feast of the Lamb. Jesus, being the Lamb of God, sacrificed himself for his bride, the church, all of us, to bring us into this great feast, this great moment of rejoicing. Now, maybe I like this image so much because my wedding feast, my wedding banquet, my wedding reception was such an extraordinary time. Every time I turned around, I encountered somebody who was there to share in my joy. Whether it was somebody from my own family, somebody from my wife's family, somebody one of us went to school with, somebody one of us had worked with, other people that we'd met along the way. Literally, every time I turned around, there was someone who was rejoicing with me on this occasion. And when you couple that with the food and the music and the dancing, it was just an extraordinary moment to share joy with all of these people. And in a lot of ways, that foreshadows how we understand, or what it is that we understand heaven is going to be. We talk about the heavenly wedding feast, which again is a big part of the theme in the book of Revelation. We read that those who are united with Christ will be the bride. That's all of us. And he's shown us how much he loves that bride by the fact that he was willing to die for his bride, for the church. And once we get there, no more sin, no more pain, no more suffering. Every tear will be wiped away. Now, well, that's a great image to understand heaven. The reality is there is no image that properly explains heaven to us. There is no image that's ever going to really define it to us. St. John Paul II, he talked about the fact that the heaven or happiness in which we will find ourselves is neither an abstraction nor a physical place in the clouds, but a living personal relationship with the Holy Trinity. What would it literally mean to be in love? There's a fantastic little book called The Eucat that says, heaven is the endless moment of love. Nothing more separates us from God, whom our soul loves and has sought its whole life long. Together with all the angels and saints, we'll be able to rejoice forever in and with God. Now, these sorts of reflections, they start to give us a sense of what heaven's going to be like. And it's something we really should think about. We really should reflect on more often. Because that's supposed to be the ultimate goal of all of our lives, is to get to heaven, to be with Jesus forever in heaven. And heaven is going to be better than you think. It's not going to be boring. In fact, I'd venture to say that the greatest experience you can imagine here on this earth, the most extraordinary, the most amazing, the most ecstatic experience you can imagine, is barely even going to touch a shadow of how good heaven is going to be. The reality is that there's no experience, no joy, no good time that you and I will ever live in this life that will be anywhere near how joyful, how fulfilling, how complete our lives will be when we get there. And so, yeah, there may be some work and some suffering between us and getting to heaven. But that work will definitively be worth it when we hear the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Come and take your rest."